In this video, I'm going to share with you what it takes to be a successful land investor and what it takes to consistently do deals and consistently run this business year after year, regardless of hype, regardless of who says what, regardless of anything. And first of all, it's important to understand that you have to be in this for skill acquisition first and being willing to solve problems first. Before the money even becomes a factor or anything, you have to be willing to focus on skill acquisition. So you need to be focused on talking to sellers, picking markets, sending out your marketing, and solving the problems that come with it. So what happens if a seller says that they don't want to sell to you anymore? What happens if you list a double close and the seller goes, you know what, you listed my property, you didn't tell me? What happens when you find out that there's a bunch of title issues on a property? What happens when you get a contract signed from a seller, but then they ghost you? What happens when all these things happen? What happens when you got a conservation easement on a property? What happens? What do you do? How do you respond? And that's the part of this business that I don't see anyone talking about. I don't really see anyone talking about the part of this business where, you know, the cloudy stuff comes up, the issues come up. And the only way to get over those cloudy things and get over those issues is to become a master at the craft. And so if you're just getting into this focused on the money, the money is a byproduct of how good your skills are going to become. The money is a byproduct of how good your skills are. The money is not an expectation. It really shouldn't even be an expectation. Of course, you expect to make money. That's why we're doing this. But you should expect to make your skills so good that the money is just an afterthought. And that's where I've gotten to. You want your skills to be so good. You want your systems to be so good. You want your conversations to be so well had. You want your process of lead in all the way to property sold to be ironclad. And if you have this, then money is just a byproduct. And so if you want to be a really good land investor, stop counting phantom profits in your business. You're like, oh, okay, well, I got this. This is supposed to be closing in 6 months and hopefully. And then you're not focused on your skills. I see so many people just get a deal under contract or even close on a deal and list it on the market. And it's not even closed yet. And they're already like licking their fingers. They're already licking their fingers like, oh my God, like I'm going to make $50,000 on this deal. Wow, this is amazing. And then you stop acquiring the skills. You stop getting better. And this is the worst thing you can do. You have to be constant skill acquisition. And this is all I did when I started doing this. And I'll tell you what, when I was only focused on the money, what ended up happening was the money was a lot harder to come. When I focused on serving, when I focused on giving value to sellers, when I focused on following up with sellers, when I focused on the skill acquisition, I made so much more money. And so this is what you have to realize, like that shift from I need to make a lot of money doing this to I need to be the best I can be at every single avenue of the business. And the other thing too is it's okay if you're slower to hire. It's okay if you're slower to delegate. That's okay. It's okay to do hundreds of thousands. I mean, one person running a land flipping business can do anywhere from 800K to probably 1.3 to 1.5 million on their own. Like one person on their own can do that if they have the right systems, if they have the right process in place, and if they're going after the right deals. One person can do that. So that's what's possible in this business, but only a highly skilled person can do that. Someone that has lower level skills and is just focused on the money, and not willing to solve the problems, they're not going to do that. And this is what I'm saying when it comes to skill. You have to realize you get paid for solving someone's problem. You get paid. That's a skill. It is a skill to get through a cloudy title deal. It's a skill to follow up with the person that's ghosted you. It's a skill to get through someone that has all these back taxes on a property. Okay, how do you handle these problems? How do you solve these problems? These are all skills. And so when you realize that, like, the better your skills become, the bigger your bank account will be. The better your skills become, the bigger your bank account will be. That's the reality of the situation. That's the reality of being a successful land investor. The better your skills become, the bigger your bank account will be. And I think most people are worried about these secret tactics and, you know, what about this and what about this new thing? And that, like, ultimately what you need to have is a smooth deal flow from start to finish. That's what you need. A smooth deal flow, start to finish, from the time that you select the market to the time that the property is closed. As long as you have that, you're going to make more money than you ever hoped and dreamed of. I've seen this business change so many of my clients' lives. This business has changed my life, but it all starts from that number one thing of skill acquisition, and you can't be afraid to do that. And the thing is, like, you get so excited about the money and the potential upside of how much money you make, and then when it's actually time to do the work and it's actually time to work on your skills, you're nervous. So if you really believe that you can make that much money, why are you nervous about it? Why are you nervous about doing the work? Why are you scared to do the work? It's like saying that you want to be you're let's say you're trying to bodybuild and you want to be a big dude, or you want to be getting really in shape. Okay, well, you have to lift. You have to count your calories. You have to do all these things. If you want to be a great boxer, you have to work on your jab, work on your defense. That takes time. You got to get hit in the face. All these things are going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And this is what you have to realize if you want to get really, really good at land investing. So aim to get really good at land investing. Aim to get really good at what makes a good market. Aim to get really good at how do I talk to sellers on the phone? How do I talk to the person that says they want $10 million? And how do I get them from 10 million to my 150,000? Even if it's over time, even if it's after 200 calls, how do I get them down to that? When you start thinking about the business in this way, you think about it in sequences. This is how I think about it. So how do we make our skills better? How do I improve our processes? Okay, well, it took us a little bit too long to follow up with the seller. How can we change that next time? Okay, well, the reason why I implemented the framing process, the reason why I implemented the follow-up process is because I realized that we only had average for a deal that was going to title, we only had like 6 to 7 touch points for a seller. That's way too little. It's way too little. Okay, so we build rapport and then that's it. There's nothing else. We need to have way more touch points. Way more touch points. We're a marketing company. So what does a marketing company do? They're always marketing. Even if it's just, okay, you have your front end marketing of mail, SMS, but then you also have back end marketing of still hitting your lead. You paid for this lead, and then you're not going to continue to market to that lead after they've already opted into your funnel. That makes no sense. You need to market to that lead hundreds and hundreds of times until we can make something happen. This is all about skill, though. You see what I'm saying when I say skill acquisition. When you focus on the skill acquisition, the money comes because, listen, if I reach out to I have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of sellers in my CRM, right? If I reach out to all these thousands of people that I've sent mail out to, or I've sent a text out to, or we've cold called over the years, if I'm constantly reaching out to them, even mailers and marketing campaigns from years ago, we still get deals from today because we're constantly reaching out to these people. And so then it becomes this snowball effect of skill acquisition and consistency to where 3, 4, 5 years down the line, now you're doing deals that from campaigns you sent out years ago. So this is all about the skill acquisition. And the other thing too is this thing is not overnight. It's not just like okay, I turn on this machine and cash spits out. That doesn't happen. This is long-term. This is consistency. This is learning as much as you can and doubling down on that and being okay with making mistakes. I feel like some people are so afraid to make mistakes that they never start. And you can't be afraid to make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes in this business, plenty, but I've learned from them all. It's okay to make a mistake as long as you learn from it. That's okay, but you have to be able to learn from it. For me to scale my company, I had to make a lot of mistakes, fall forward, fail forward, fall on my face. I had to do this multiple times. And I was okay with that because I knew if I got better, I knew that if I stayed on the phone, I knew that if I learned how to teach those skills, then I knew that it would pay in perpetuity later in life. And now it is. And so you have to know that, like, okay, where is it that you want to go? Like, know where you want to go, know exactly what you want. And when you know this, it becomes really easy to go and get it. And you have to have drive and determination to get there. Because I'm telling you, there will be days in this business where it's like, God, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, even though the money is great, or, something, just things might happen in your business where, like, stressful situations. I've had, things kind of blow up. And there's been weeks where, this is why I don't double close as much anymore. But there's been weeks where like multiple double closes are kind of falling out, or this property has title issues, or a title report came back and it was completely unexpected. And we have to deal with that. That's a part of the business. And that's also why everyone doesn't do it. Everyone doesn't do this because when you realize that there are issues that you have to overcome, people think that it's just like it's a button that you turn on and you just make a bunch of money. That's not the case. And so, but the great thing about that though is the people that are going to be really successful in this business over the next 10 years are going to be the people that focused on their skills now, are going to be the people that focus on learning now and not just learning, but applying. And the reason why I was able to get so good at this is because for the first several years of being in this business, I was nothing but obsessed with this. I was nothing but obsessed with how to do deals, nothing but obsessed with how to do larger deals, nothing but obsessed with systems, with processes on how to do deals in a better way and how to reach sellers in a better way, nothing but obsessed with that. And I focused on the skill of every single process of the business. And so that's all I cared about. And so because that's all I cared about, when I ran into problems, I was like, no problem. I'm gonna overcome this. It's a part of the business. And so when you run into problems, you have to realize this is a part of the business. And the people that quit, the people that I see that don't get to where they want to get to, is literally because they quit because they didn't sharpen their skills enough to solve those problems, or they didn't ask the questions enough to solve those problems. And this is really what it takes to be extremely successful in this business. This is literally all it takes. It takes skill acquisition. It takes being obsessed with your skill acquisition. It takes being obsessed with learning, and not just being obsessed with learning, but being obsessed with applying. Because again, I've seen so many people be so like consumed with the learning part of it, so consumed with the analysis part of it, that they get paralyzed. So you have this analysis paralysis, and you can't, it's like, oh, well, okay, well, I was going to send out the mail, but I wanted to wait for this time. And somebody told me it wasn't a good time to send mail. Somebody told me it wasn't going to, it's always a good time to send marketing. Whoever says it's not a good time to send marketing, I, I wouldn't listen to them. It's always a good time to send marketing. The only time where it might be a little bit shaky, this has been for me, in December. But if you're sending the properties that are not covered in snow, then you should be good. I've still done deals in December every single year since I started the business, and we still had good months every December. But you should always be marketing. Whoever says, oh, don't text right now because it's the 4th of July or it's Christmas, like, text every day, mail every week, cold call every day, because you never know who's going to pick up the other end of the phone. You don't know. And so when people are like, oh, well, should I follow up on this day? Should I follow up on that day? Every day. If you're just starting out doing this, you need to be relentless every day. I didn't care if it was Christmas, if it was Thanksgiving, if it was your birthday, if it was my birthday. I didn't care. I was making that call because I knew where I was going to go. When I was 21 years old, I knew I was going to be here. So I was like, I'm making the calls. I don't care. If you get upset with me, if you curse me out, I don't care. You have to develop that thick skin. That's also a skill to develop, is thick skin, because sellers are going to call you out of your name. People are going to say things to you that you don't like. This is a part of it. And you have to know how to you got to know how to say, okay, this is what it is right now. This is what it is right now. But one day I'm going to be in a position of power because I acquired these skills. One day I'm going to be in a position of power. One day I'm going to be the authority. So right now, cool. I'll take my licks, no problem. But I'm going to continue to take my licks until you can't do that anymore. And this is what you have to realize about growing in this business. This is what happens. At first, you start out and you're the little guy. You're the guy that has to make the calls. You're the guy that has to do everything in your business. You're the guy that's asking deal funders for money. Oh, can I get an extra 5% on that? You're that guy. That's okay. You're the guy that's trying to figure out which community to get into. You're the guy that's trying to figure out which mentor to work with. You're the guy that's trying to figure out, okay, how do I get here faster? You're that guy right now. But ultimately, you can become the guy that is on the other end of it, where they are funding other people's deals, and now they have a fully fledged business printing cash every single quarter, a ridiculous amount of cash. I'm talking about multiple 6 figures. Profit. So this is all a part of the process. And if you're in the space right now, you're like, man, I don't know if this is for me. This is hard. Like, this deal fell out, or, maybe this deal's under contract, but it's taking a little bit longer to sell, or seller found out that I'm double closing, or I didn't say the right thing to a seller. The answer is always skill acquisition. The answer is always practice. And even when it comes to dealing with more sophisticated sellers, that's also skill acquisition and practice, because it takes a different level of tone. It takes a different level of verbiage, quite frankly, to speak with someone that's more sophisticated, to speak with someone that, has a 7-figure asset or a multi-6-figure asset. So you can't talk to the guy that has a multi-6-figure asset or a 7-figure asset the same way you would talk to a guy that has a $20,000 asset. And so these are all things that you have to learn, and you only learn these things by doing it. You don't learn the thing by watching videos about it. You learn the thing by actually doing it. You learn the thing by being in the field. Because it's like, you can shoot all day at target practice, but when you go into war, your emotions can be all messed up. You got somebody running at you. Like, all these things are happening. And so you got to be able to shoot live in war. And the only way to shoot live in war is by practicing it in war. So you have to pick up the phone. You have to dial. You have to make sure your script is right. You have to make sure that the way you're building rapport is correct. It's not about necessarily being their best friend, but it is about being on a level of mutual respect to where you guys are acquaintances and can come to a good deal, and there's trust between you. That's what it's really about. And if you can establish that, then you're going to get deals done. It's also about questioning and challenging sellers when they say a ridiculous price. Most people that I see don't do that. Most people I see just say, okay, I want 500,000. And they're like, oh, okay, 500,000. Okay, let me see what I can do. Well, I can't do that. And I know I can't give you $500,000. So why am I sitting here saying, well, let me see what I can do? I know I can't give you 500,000. Instead of, let me see what I can do, well, what got you to 500,000? I'm just curious because the comps that I see, they're not anywhere around that. Oh, that's just what I think. Okay, well, is it something you're looking to sell because of this reason? Yes. From what I see, it's in or at around this range. That's what I'm seeing. And so these are a lot of things that I've learned by practicing, by doing deals, by teaching other people how to do deals, and what it takes to build a 7-figure land investment company in your 20s if you want to do it. If that's something you want to do, it's very possible for you, but you must realize that it's not, the money's always going to be a byproduct. I don't look at so now, right? I've just made a big investment into a company, and there's going to be a lot of things that we have to do to get the company to be where we want it to be, right? As an example, I am not thinking right now, how much money can I make from this company? I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about, without revealing too many details, I'm thinking about what do we need to do and who do we need to serve and in what way and in how and exactly how, so that way we're serving the marketplace at the highest capability that the company can, right? So that's what I think of. And the money is a byproduct of that. So anything that I do, any company that I have, any company that I own, anything that I'm a part of, the primary position is, how do we serve the marketplace? How do we serve the marketplace best? How do we improve our process? How do we improve the way we talk to people? How do we improve the way we provide support to create the best products possible or to create the best services possible? And the land investment company is a service-based business. So your job is to make sure that you're improving the service in the best way possible through process, through systems, through market selection, through literally every avenue of the business. Improve the process. And when you improve the process and make it the best that it could be, then the money is always just a byproduct and what comes after that. So focus on this. When Steve Jobs created the iPhone, he focused on making a good product. When they made the Microsoft computers, they focused on making a good product. Tesla, good product. All these things are good product. The money is a byproduct. If you have the market and you have a good product or a good service, the money will always be a byproduct. So you guys already have the market. You already have the market of people that are in need of selling their properties. You already have the service of providing quick liquidity to their properties and in cash. You already have that service. So now you need to couple these two things. And how do I make sure that my service, the way I provide it, is the best way possible, is the best possible? That is your job. So for me to do that, I have to improve my skills vastly. And if you do that right, in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, you'll be looking at a multi-6, if not multi-7-figure profit land flipping business. and I'll see you in the next video.